Hello everyone. Welcome to today's discussion on editing in academic writing. In this lecture, we will learn how to improve academic writing through effective editing as a skill, and it is not just about correcting grammar, it is about strengthening ideas, structure and clarity of an academic writing. So, towards the end of today's lecture, we all will be feeling more confident about revising our academic draft or academic work because editing is a skill that improves with practice. We need to practice so that we can improve our skill. But one question might have definitely come to your mind. What is academic writing? Correct? So let's begin with this basic question and addressing academic writing as a formal, structured, and evidence-based writing which is purely applicable for academic setting, maybe in institution, universities, or any other academic organization. So it is different from our casual conversation, which we do in our day-to-day life conversation or social media writing. So it is quite different from that because there can be confusion or a question which has definitely arisen in your mind that what is different in academic writing. If we are writing, if we were posting captions on online platforms, how is it different from academic writing? So we must have observed that what we write, how we write in our academic setting, in our institution, universities, is not the same what we write or how we write in our informal conversation, maybe such as social media writing, maybe such as our casual writing, isn't it? So, an academic writing is a formal, structured, and evidence based writing. It requires clarity, objectivity, and logical organization. And this all happens with a proper support through examples or evidence. In an academic draft, we have to argue certain point of views. Now, on what basis will we argue? We need evidences, we need references, or we need validations. Those are important. And how we can remember, academic writing is usually used in essays, in research papers, or in assignments. Now, essays, one such academic writing which we have definitely experienced, practiced in our HSLC and HSDs, right? So we know a little bit of essay writing. If we remember, an essay should always be written in a proper beginning, middle, and end structure. It should be written in different paragraphs where one paragraph should consist one idea, isn't it? So this is a way, this is a format where we maintain the formality structure of the writing. Similarly, there are also certain other writing uh, platforms such as research papers is one such academic writing pattern. Assignments, this is also where we formally maintain writing structure and include certain evidence based arguments. So what we have to keep in our mind is that academic writing is not a casual writing skill. It is way beyond a casual writing skill or informal writing skill. So what are the different characteristics of academic writing then? So academic writing has several important characteristics such as, first and foremost, it should be formal in its tone. It should have a clear thesis statement. It should be logical in its paragraph structure. It should be capable of using evidences and citations wherever and whenever required. It should have a proper objective and analytical language. So we have to keep in our mind that academic writing is not our casual writing. So definitely we have to formalize, we have to be structured, we have to be logical in the writing skill when we are writing an academic draft. If we are arguing, it should have a valid proof, validation of the references, citation of the references also. For instance, we might have cited so many critics, authors, theorists, and so many other writers. But if we do not acknowledge or cite their writings, again, it's not ethical. So we have to acknowledge those writers whom we are referring or taking help of. So this comes under the citations part. Okay, so these are different characteristics of academic writing. And looking into the characteristics, we have definitely understood that academic writing is an advanced writing skill. And this is where we need the skill of editing. Why? Because editing improves the quality of our academic draft. Okay, so we will understand this academic writing in comparison to our informal writing skill. I have taken one example. As you can see, informally when we write, we can write it as pollution is really bad and causes lots of problems. It's understandable, right? And at the same time, it is also easy in its language. But when we write it academically, I mean, when it becomes an academic draft, we have to use our language more analytically, such as environmental pollution has significant socio-economic and ecological consequences. It is more formal, more structured, and more analytical in its language. So this is one example which I have cited here to distinguish between informal and academic writing. Clear? Now here comes the question, why is editing necessary? It is one of the relevant questions in today's discussion because we are discussing editing in academic writing. So definitely we have to understand what is editing and why is it important. We must have definitely edited our pictures, our videos at certain point of time. But have you ever questioned why do we edit? It has a very simple answer. And I'm sure you all will agree to better the picture or the video, to better the quality of the picture or the video, isn't it? Whatever subjects we choose for editing, to better the quality of it, to improve it, we do the editing. Now, the similar idea fits in academic draft or academic writing. A draft may contain many errors such as grammatical errors, punctuation errors, spelling errors, and so many other mistakes. So editing is one of the skills, one of the tools through which we can better and improve the draft, the academic draft. And that's why I have mentioned here that editing is necessary because the first drafts are always filled with errors. So to edit the first draft, it actually improves the quality of the paper by strengthening the argument, by improving the clarity and coherence, that is the logical flow or the sequence of the paragraphs, and at the same time it also enhances the academic credibility. So all in together, we need to understand that editing is quite necessary to improve and to enhance the quality and the credibility of an academic paper or academic draft, because at the end of the writing we have to submit it as a manuscript, maybe for a high reputed journal publication, book publication, or for many other high education purposes. So editing is required to improve those qualities, those clarities of the paper, of the draft, the logical flow, the sequence of the ideas of the paragraphs needs to be improved, isn't it? It can happen that your first draft is filled with no error, but many or majority of the cases comes with errors. There can be technical errors, there can be grammatical errors, and so many other reasons. So editing is required to look after detailed rectification of those errors. Okay. Dear learners, it is important to understand the difference between editing and proofreading because both the skills are quietly associated in close resemblance with each other. where editing basically improves the ideas, the structure, and the clarity of the academic draft. At the same time, proofreading corrects the grammar, the spelling, and the punctuation. So, editing happens before final submission, and proofreading is the final stage of the submission. That means once you are done with the proofreading, you cannot undo again, or you cannot go back and redo it, because proofreading is the final stage, it is the last stage. So editing and proofreading, both the skills are required to enhance and improve the quality of an academic draft. But since today's discussion is more about editing, so we will now move on into the four different levels of editing. And what are these? Content level, structural level, language level, mechanical level. So let's discuss each of the levels separately, and we will begin with the content level editing, which is also one of the most important levels of editing. Why? Because at the content level, we generally ask ourselves, or the editor asks, no, is the thesis clear and specific? Does every paragraph support the thesis? Are the examples relevant? And is the argument logical? These are some basic questions which we ask as an editor or while editing the academic draft. These are the questions which we look around when we are editing the content of the academic draft. For example, whether the thesis have a clear and specific statement or not. Thesis here, it's referring to the research article, research paper on a higher education purpose, such as the scholars of the PhD. Okay, so the PhD journey is filled with good number of research papers. The scholars have to write different number of research papers, research articles, which are fine examples of academic draft. And that's why content level editing is like, done majorly in case of academic drafts, which is why research paper is considered as one of the prime examples. So we generally look and we try to rectify if there is any error which answers this question, such as if the thesis is clear or not, it is specific or not, does each paragraph support the thesis argument or not, are the examples or references which are used inside the academic draft, are they relevant, are they sufficient, and is the argument definitely in any kind of research paper, research article, or any kind of research assignment, we have to argue or to validate our point of views. Now to validate that, we have to use certain references, examples, and so on. So are they relevant or not? So we have to look into the entire content of the academic draft, which is the first level of editing, that is called content level editing. Proceeding ahead, we will now take one example which gives us the idea how a sentence can be an example of a weak sentence as a part of the thesis and a strong sentence as a part of the thesis. You can take this example of the sentence, technology is good. Suppose we have written this sentence in between one of the sections of our thesis. So it's considered to be a weak sentence because it is not having an analytical or formal or structured way of approach. Now, how can we strengthen it? We can strengthen by altering the sentence having the similar idea, such as digital technology has transformed communication patterns in contemporary society. This is how we can elaborate. Okay, so that's why we can do the content level editing to enhance the academic credibility of the academic draft. Now comes the next level of editing, which is structural editing. In structural editing, we look up to this primary concerns, such as, is there any logical paragraph sequence or not? We have to basically put the paragraphs in a logical flow. If the paragraphs are not in sync, are not in a logical flow, we have to rearrange it as an editor. Next, we have to look upon whether the introduction of the academic draft as well as the conclusion of the academic draft have a clarity or not. And it is a general guidance we usually get from our respective teachers right from our HSLC days that our introduction of any essay and our conclusion of any essay should be crisp and clear, isn't it? So this is also a part of structural editing. Next, we have to look upon the smooth transition between ideas. Now see, we include or incorporate different and multiple ideas in an academic draft to prove our point or maybe our argument. But all those ideas should be in a smooth transition, should be in a smooth flow from one point of view to another point of view. And that's where we have to look as an editor whether they are structurally organized or not, whether the transition is smooth or not. And at last, we also have to look upon the unity within each paragraph. Each paragraph should be in sync with each other. So these all point of concerns comes under structural editing. This is the second level. Third level is language level, where we basically look into the subject verb agreement, we maintain the tense consistency, we use formal academic tone, and we also look after whether there is constant repetition or not. So it is more about the construction of the sentences, choice of words, and minor level grammatical check, because at the final stage proofreading looks after all the grammatical errors and submits the academic draft as a manuscript. And here I have cited two references to clear or better the understanding, such as one incorrect sentence is given, each student have their opinion. So an academic draft may contain minor level grammatical error. So each student have their opinion is an incorrect sentence. It is corrected when it is written as each student has an individual opinion. Again, similarly, the boys is playing is incorrect because the boys is in plural number. So the boys are playing should be the correct one. So this level of corrections are required to be done as an editor, and specifically in the language level editing. Now comes the next editing level, which is mechanical level. So mechanical level looks after the punctuation correction, capitalization, accurate spelling, consistent formatting. So this entire thing is looked upon as mechanical level editing. So this mechanical level editing is basically about all the mechanisms of the writing skills, such as punctuation mark, capitalization, accurate use or utilization of spelling, and consistent formatting as per the formats or not. So all these are the mechanics of the mechanical editing. Now, here I have displayed three sentences, and you can consider this as sentence level practice in between today's discussion. So, these three sentences are incorrect. How can we correct it? I'm pretty sure you must have definitely solved it rightly. You have corrected it. Dear learners, we will proceed into the next slide where I will guide you with the corrected sentences from the previous slide. So the first sentence contains two errors. The findings suggest that pollution is increasing. So the first correction is with the use of the word suggest. It should be suggest and not suggest because findings is already in plural number. The second error which is spotted is pollution is increasing. It should not be are increasing. Why? Because pollution is uncountable and it is considered as singular. Similarly, the second sentence, each participant has completed rather than have completed. And lastly, the sentence, although it was raining, we went outside. So here we need to use a punctuation mark that is comma. Why? Because although is used as an introduction to the clause. Although it was raining is a clause. So we have to pause in between with a comma and then we have to complete the sentence. So these are the corrected sentences from the previous slide. So we will now move ahead and we will look into the primary concern of an editing. You can consider this as one of the primary concerns. Why? Because an academic draft is always written in paragraphs. So there will be numerous paragraphs in an academic draft. But we have to keep these three concerns in our mind, that one main idea should be included in one paragraph. One paragraph, one idea, and it should not be consisted with more than one ideas. Otherwise, there will be confusions. Next concern is topic sentence introduces central idea. That means the topic of the essay should itself introduce the central idea of the academic draft. And lastly, all the supporting sentences should develop the idea logically. Sometimes it happens, when we write the topic, we elaborate it too much, not required. We have to keep it short, simple, and at the same time, we also have to keep in our mind that it should introduce the central idea of the academic draft. Suppose we are writing the topic having a different idea and the entire academic draft is also of different idea. It will be a big confusion, right? So this is what we have to maintain in keeping in concern the paragraph unit. Now, I will give you two examples. You can see here how, paragraph becomes I mean poor, or you can consider it as a weak paragraph. Education is important. Many students like sports. Online learning became popular. Teachers work hard. Once again, I'm repeating the sentences. Please listen carefully. Education is important. Many students like sports. Online learning became popular. Teachers work hard. After multiple readings, we will not get a connection in between these sentences because they are written just abruptly, having no correlation with each other. But now, how we can link these points in one paragraph having a logical flow and a clear focus is this one. Education plays a crucial role in personal development. Online learning has transformed traditional teaching methods. Teachers have adapted to digital platforms for effective instruction. Now, these 3 points can be incorporated, in the development of the idea because they have a correlation of the ideas. But previously, the ideas were fragmented, were shattered, were having lack of logical flow between each other. Okay, so this is also what we have to do as an editor or when we have to edit the paragraphs. Okay, so we would conclude today's discussion on editing an academic draft by quickly looking at the checklist of the editing skills. I mean, in a very quick note, how we can remember what are the checklist of editing. We have to remember whether the thesis is clear or not. We have to remember, are the arguments used in the academic draft are logical or not. We also have to remember whether the grammar and the punctuation marks are correctly used or not. At the same time, the tone of the academic draft should be formal. So we have to look after the tone of the paper and whether the transitions of the ideas of the paragraphs are effective or not. So these are the primary checklist of the editing skill. So what did we learn today? What is the outcome of today's learn? We have understood to differentiate between editing and proofreading. We also have learned that editing is more about improving the clarity and coherence of the academic draft, and at the same time, proofreading is more about correcting the grammatical and structural errors. And we also learned that we have to apply the editing techniques to make the effective outcome of the academic draft, where both the editing and proofreading skill collaboratively they are applied. They are implemented to enhance the academic credibility of the writing skill. Dear learners, with this we will conclude today's class. Thank you everyone for listening to me patiently and cooperating me throughout the discussion. Keep learning, keep practicing, and keep improving the enhancement of academic writing. Thank you.